everyone, I am your mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube, Spirit, going with itself, on TikTok, 1961 Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I always recommend, suggest, and I religion the description of my YouTube channel, Spirit, going with itself to get a better understanding. A lot of you know, if you're not new to my channel, you know that I come in and I talk about anything and everything. Right now, I have more of a pagan music, right? Because, it's today we're going to go down the witchcraft rabbit hole. My channel's not for everyone. I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry, I'll piss you off. You want to punch me? Okay. Keep your hands to yourself. You want to come at me energetically, by all means, free. Now, it's the same as you love me, hate me, like me, loathe me. It doesn't matter. But it's not a challenge. It's saying that, if that is what helps you get through every day. Because when somebody talks about something that irritates and gets under your skin, whether you're religious or you're non-religious, whether you believe in God or whether you're atheist, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay? And that's the problem with today's with the world. Not just today's world, but the world as it is as a whole. For many millenniums, okay? People like myself, we always felt like we had to hide. You have to hide because you're a mystic. You don't fit in, or because you got witchcraft, or you got this, or you practice that. Or today, I received a that I had made, and they had told me that the devil got me. Well, if the devil got me, then I guess the Father fucking caught up with me, didn't he? Because that's who the devil is. Hey, this is the Father. But see, you won't believe that because many people are fixated on this. No matter what you're, okay? But on here, in a thing that I'm going to be bringing forward, because I'm going to go with regards to religion and witchcraft, okay? Because religion and witchcraft, they're the same fucking thing. But people don't want to believe that. So, you can go back to your Bible, study your Bible, and then tell me that you know what it fucking means. Because to me, it just sounds like a bunch of feuding, fighting back and forth, demonizing each other. See, if it hadn't been for me going down the witchcraft rabbit hole, I wouldn't have found God. But you'll say, oh, well, you found the devil that way. Well, then I guess, every time you read this book, every time you shout about the person or people in this book, you're crazy witchcraft. Why? Because it's the church that's bringing it forward. Jesus wasn't of the church. And it didn't matter how he prayed or what have you. People will say, oh, because of how he prayed, that's our religion. Have you seen anyone outside that religion when they're actually praying for something? It's like you get on your hands and knees and you beg. It's the closest connection to the mother because you're touching them. To pray, it doesn't matter if you're standing up, sitting down, walking, running, jogging. Prayer is a conversation that you have between you and spirit. People will tell you that, oh, you talk to yourself. No, I talk to spirit. You just happen to think that I'm talking to myself. Get it por again? It's Everybody sees it differently. So when you're seeing it differently, you can't. There's all different perspectives of it, but you're not listening to it. You're not seeing. Like I even like with regards to symbols, people say about Freemasons using symbols, and Christianity stole those from the actual true Freemasons who were not in it for personal gain. It was the slaves that knew and understood what you class as witchcraft. Some of them veered off and used it for good, and some used it for evil, as you perceive it. See, when I do this, I can feel people's energy. Okay? So when I start talking with people, other people's energy comes in. So what ends up happening is I channel those people, and sometimes I get really rude, or I come off as rude. But it's that person that's speaking up and saying, like, how they perceive things. That's spirit. Because I go spirit to spirit. I connect with your spirit. That's why I say, you like me, hate me, love me. I'll irritate you. But I'm irritating those parts of you, those shadows. When I was at the Glow the other day, like people, I read another part where people were saying because they seen a movie where Clint Eastwood had kissed a 12-year-old girl. It was a movie, but it didn't look like script. No matter whether it's in a movie or in real life, it's not. And it took me back to like when I read a comment on there, what religion is, and I commented back like pedophilia does not choose a fucking religion. So that's where ignorance comes in. That's where a form of witchcraft comes in because they use witchcraft to normalize things and they use it to bring to light things. People will use, like, unknowingly, you're doing it yourself. Every time you fucking speak, but you won't believe that, right? Of course not. See, on this shelf, and I would have more, I have different other books in that, and I have my cards. And I have rocks, crystals. I'm a mixture of everything because I see everything in it all. Right? Because it all happens, right? No matter how you perceive it, no matter what religion, no matter what religion you're looking to. Like Christians, they'll say about symbolism. So it's of the devil if someone else uses symbolism, but it's of God if you do. How exactly does that fucking work again? They say about the Sacred Heart. I told you before, it was actually Mary Magdalene who was put on the cross. The Sacred Heart, the cross, and the anchor, the Grail, the Holy Spirit. But you think it's like preaching of God, of God, of God. Okay? I'll tell you right now, like, like, okay, it's that there's two forms of Christian. Okay, you got more of a like pagan way of thinking. Okay, for everybody. But with the Christian, with Christianity, you see money is bad, but you're always with these That's it's not that they're following God. It's they're following the entertainment, the glitz, the glamour, the flashing lights, the illusion, the distraction. God was humble, right? Where's the humbleness in that? How is that humble? You're under witchcraft right now, but you won't believe that way. Of course not. And why will you not? Because you're waiting for your savior because you didn't get the understanding of the message. People say that psychics, it's witchcraft, it's the devil. You know, when they say about God, what the fuck do you think's going on? You say the prophets. Seriously. You say about the prophets, whom are psychic or time travelers, but you still don't get it? You don't? Mother and son. Grandmother. Or is she the daughter? Because there was another Mary. But I read in here, this is seems to be the mother Mary. I watched a woman where she said that Mary would go around with the thing over her head. You were in a time where women were not allowed to show themselves. Okay, because a woman was blamed for her sexuality if another man was attracted to her. So even in witchcraft, they've sexualized and demonized the female body. So you've already gone and demonized your mother. You know, it's witchcraft. You know, you got a man in the White House that can't stand that, you know, he's a womanizer and he can't stand women. And the women that follow him, well, you got to be with another woman, or you think your shit don't stink and your ego's just as big as you. You know, that's the mega, that's the church. That's the ego. You know, if I'm following, if I'm going by what Jesus said, I'm going by what I have here, and it's not out of the book. It's not out of the Bible, because he actually he went to different places. But Mary Magdalene, she knew it naturally because she had to come to it on her own. She went through the hell. She wore the thorns. You know, this here, it's made from the Virginia creeper. Have you ever walked on Virginia creeper? It has thorns. Virgin, Virginia. So you look to the symbolism, but you got not a fucking clue what it symbolizes. You look in a Bible, but you won't go outside of it and learn anything other than what you read in there. And because they demonize rituals or what have you, which is what itself. So I guess you have to demonize the church too. But you're starting to see the truth. See, people aren't leaving so much leaving the church because they don't believe in God. They figured out the lie that you don't have to go to an outside party to find God. And that's what this stuff helps you to do. But you say it's, people will say, the devil God, you know, I guess I'm going to put the fall away. Yes, the music actually fits with what I'm doing, so I'm glad I shut off C100 or iHeartRadio or whatever it is. But this one, see, let's go to Druids. See, the thing is, people will demonize all this stuff and say it's witchcraft. Well, I guess you're saying that you have no fucking clue of your ancestors. So if you have no idea about your ancestors, how the fuck do you think you're gonna say that for me? See, that's like with this song coming up, it's something that, you know, they're demonizing the woman and saying she'll lead you astray. Oresi que muta tai sinunush la nuton. This song is saying that the woman tempted the man who was uh, remained celibate, and she stained him. Did she stain him, or did they fall in love? Esse autor do mulher com muita tem, acho que o livro de graça. And I understand what that song is representing, because right now we're talking about Jesus, and many people believe in Jesus, and you say, well, you're speaking blasphemy. Are you sure about that? Are you absolutely sure about that? Because they're still finding things out. It's coming and meeting your shadow, okay? Because the shadow is the hardest thing, because the shadow is much like God. Right? It's what you perceive to be as the devil, right? Or throw in Satan, but you say all it's witchcraft. But you don't say it's witchcraft, the stuff that they do in your churches, right? Why not? Why do you not see that as witchcraft? They're pretending they're saying about the blood of wine and the bread of Christ. It's a ritual. A prayer is a ritual. That's why it's like darkness, because you demonize what was once the light. See, this whole down here, it's about astrology. There's a couple there, or one of the art. So let's see. Spirit guided me here. Okay. Spirit took me to your present. It says the art of the war, right? And then he just put, or the art of the deep, okay? If you just change security or some kind of thing to something more, right? It says, the spot where we intend to fight must not be made known, for then the enemy will have to prepare against a possible attack at several different points, and his forces being thus disrupted in many directions, the numbers we shall have to face at any given point will be potentially few. So, what's happening right now within your world? You're being distracted, okay? And the world seems like it fucking blew up because everybody's threatening fucking nuclear atomic bombs on each other, nuclear bombs and hydrogen bombs. I just like wanted, like I just got in there, like the part of, the biggest fucking bomb is the part of the gas that's coming out their ass or the shit they're spewing out their face. What does it look like? Or should the enemy strengthen his van? Weaken his rear. Should he strengthen his rear, he will weaken his van. Should he strengthen his left, he will weaken his right. Should he strengthen his right, he will weaken his left. If he sends reinforcements everywhere, he will everywhere be weak. See, if people only realize that what they tell you is fiction and what they tell you is fairy tale, it's actually the life of your ancestors and different versions of yourself through what people perceive as reincarnation, rebirth, or resurrection. Okay? They talk about that in the church, but they don't put it in that form. It's some churches will demonize the term of resurrection. Well, we don't. We just die and go somewhere. Well, no, we actually die and go somewhere. And what I see where I go or where I end up, when I look up in the sky, all you can see is like blue earth planets. But, you know, aren't people coming forward and saying that they're seeing different planets more clearly? But you didn't get that yet, did you? I actually thought that, you know, people were smarter than that. At least you were created to be smarter than that. You got to come out of this because it's like putting yourself in a little globe, like what you call the world. Well, you're not even in the full world yet. Like for 900 some million square kilometers. How much? Like how big would that really be? Because that's how big. That's just something for what have you of what you perceive to be the world. So that's also fucking small. Considering you say that it's one of the biggest planets, right? But it even goes back to this. Let's talk about you talk about Moses, the plate with the Ten Commandments on it. What do you think it is? It's just a lot of name changes and character changes with a bit of character flaws in there because they want to throw in their own little. Hattutuation yesterday. You know, people think you're brave, but there are many people who already know who Donald Trump really is. People didn't like when I said starseed. Well, maybe he's the starseed that fell, or was he kicked out? See, people don't believe this, but the mother was a witch and the father was a warlock. And then there was a female warlock and a female witch. She won't believe that, right? How do you think everything was created? Que se todavía better burn us to the stake. Que se estamos and what, like, it's that part of, you demonize things you don't understand, or because somebody else tells you that it's this way. So you limit yourself from finding yourself, from finding what it is that you are in search of. Oh, shit. That was rude. Druidry. How to connect spiritually with the land. Nine flower blessing. Now down Elvaire. I did my research and into my family. There's Druid blood. There's Jewish blood. There's Christian blood. It's like pagan, native, but you say Indians. People get offended when you say Indians because you have to say, for political correctness, native people. Well, then I guess you're referring to, you have to say native, that native person, because you're all native. But see, people will fight over that because, oh, you're not a specific color, or you don't look a certain way. Doesn't matter how far back you go, you still carry the genetic signatures. You still carry the DNA of your ancestors. Because it's not just carried through your blood, but it's carried through your spirit. You see the Holy Kids. Each druid is free to approach the divine in whatever way feels appropriate for them. In fact, you are not required to work with deities at all if that feel right for you. There are atheists who choose to approach druidry as a philosophy and feel no need to incorporate any form of surgery into their practice. However, many are drawn to work with deities, and there are a number of ways this can manifest. You know, your churches talk about angels. They talk about angels and demons. You know, I was saying yesterday that the medical system, they say like, you know, possession or spirituality, they demonize it into a medical term. So they remove all spirit from it, which it's spirit that gets compressed into the physical being because it won't allow itself. It won't. It's put into a box and it's numbed from feeling itself. So the spirit gets suppressed. If you want to take pills, you take pills. That's entirely up to yourself. But I recommend you do it the other way. Because healing is not easy, it's painful. Have you ever had a broken leg? Have you ever had a cut? Does it tickle? Some people are still trying to fucking heal. But I guess, you know, you don't want to listen. That's up to yourself. Go take your medication every 4 6 hours. Don't forget to wake up in the middle of the night. Don't forget, you can't have anything to eat after you take the pill. See, all this stuff happens because, you know, somebody wants to control, so they suppress this stuff. They hide behind the facade. I have not really met a lot of people from the church who are actually honest. We we were putting a bathroom in, and we were told, here, well, this guy needs to go see their church. So, you know, we feel okay. But he screwed us over. He left holes in the walls and everything. And he got paid. I had another church person say that, you know, just because I would say that Jehovah was my God, they wanted nothing to do with it. Well, you know, that's not a God. So I don't know what fucking God you're. And then at the church across the road, he stood there and he said about Christ's teachings that prayer and meditation went hand in hand. But when I offered to teach meditation for free, he wanted nothing to do with them. And I said, I won't be that. I will not break bread with you. Do they care? Probably not, because they have their little clique. But whenever I went into, no offense to those people, but I did not feel anything healing about it. I felt depression and you know, just people giving up. So, you know, go study your Bible so you can spout off the words of the Bible and have an extremely lack of understanding of what it is. Dissela tutto poricesce, moto cose. Where would ease of the body be? Mind. People say, I've had somebody tell me, well, if you don't believe in curses, then like if somebody doesn't believe in curses, then it's not real. It doesn't make it not real. It just leaves you in a denial state to the point where you would perceive it to be a psychosis. That's spirit's gonna. If you're called, which everyone's called, it's going to take that call. Are you going to take on that devil? Are you going to take on that devil? Que me tuyas. And so the mother is, and I felt people say, like when I said the word demon, well, that's what people's done. You've demonized the father, you demonized the mother, and you glorified the son, or the child who is both of the father and mother. And then you say it's witchcraft. Okay, if people think or even remotely believe that they manipulate your mind, they send in subliminal messages so that it's so quick that your mind can't catch it. So it puts that belief in them. It's like a magician, right? A magician who doesn't fully know magic, but knows how to bring about illusions, distractions, to distract you one way while they're doing something else. The father, like, there's okay, the forest. There's like that forest. That's more of the house, right? They take care of the land. then, you know, you have fish, right? Some fish as well. So you have the fish aqua. Yeah, they don't like being called fish. Aqua. Remember one day I made a comment about what would the people do if the animals started treating them the way that they treated orchard. And people are talking about like frog people, lizard people. Because some people will treat animals better than they treat humans. And some people will treat humans better than they treat animals. And some treat human and animal like they're nothing. That's see, people talked about Nikola Tesla, okay? Do you think Nikola Tesla he spoke about different things? Same sort of idea. He referred to himself as Lucifer, Lightbringer. Era tuttora in sì. Yes, tuttora in Modern guide to the ancient craft. Inner witch. Really? You know, have you ever really read about or understood the aspect of angels? Whether you perceive them to be fallen angels or not? They have magical weapons. Do you not get it? They seem to look oh, father, man. Or brother. What is it? What I see? You know? I just heard you use that stuff. Well, but I use okay. I can't say okay, just one second. Let me rephrase it. Right? Do I use this stuff? I bought this stuff. I haven't really read it, but I understand it because I experienced it. I went through it to get to it. I wore crystals, I have crystals around, but I've never really done any rituals. I used the 1,000 watts once or twice, and it was like, no, because my energy is so intense that it just shoots. But people will, like I said, they'll demonize something they don't understand. I didn't go to a clergy. I didn't go to a church. I don't worship God. I say I don't worship the devil because I'm fighting with the devil right now because he can be one massive fucking pompous ass. Go seek him with that. Go see I. in Mumbai and why. So it's like, shit, man, touristic water, and I'm in the fucking middle of it all. Touristic yes, to do it. Father, why have you denied me? Not Father, why have you forsaken me? You for forsaken him, holy fuck, man, it's only because he's seen himself in him and then like what he's seen. Puxa, motai shalakito burikara tatasito, my. Like, flip shit. Holy shit, man, this girl's got multiple personalities going on right now. Find your sacred heart. And get over it. What that get over it part was stop the fucking fighting and have an actual fucking conversation. Someone say, oh, she's got bad spirits. If I got bad spirits, only because you won't fucking deal with your own. It's shadows. Okay? It's the shadow and the light fighting because the light wants the shadow to see, and the shadow wants to shut the light out because it hurts too much. It fucking burns. Putting my armor. Spirit to spirit, if you're taking offense on this, then I guess my channel's not. Don't understand. See, there's like, I just wonder, should I wait until Sunday to do this? I've done things on Sunday before, but there's other that they call Saturday, like Saturday. It's ridiculous, right? It was on Netflix, Instagram. Yes, just sitting here. See, I have a strong feeling that Mary Magdalene actually will actually have peace with one another. Because are they the brother and sister? Well, they are. Yeah. Harmony nice. Gotta get started. Mental health benefits. Mental health benefits of it is really basic. They say talk, but most of the time when people talk, it's like they keep saying the same thing over and over again because they don't hear themselves and they don't know how to come out and find the rest of what it is that they're trying to move through. It's like facing that. You're afraid of the dark, shadows in the dark. People say that the shadow runs away from the light. Have you ever watched your shadow on the sun? It's supposed to be connected to you because it's people didn't like me saying that because it's like, oh, it's love and light, love and light. The shadow just makes trouble. Well, I guess you do. It's your shadow. So deal with your own fucking shadow instead of leaving it for somebody else to try and work. You know, like a ritual. That's like, people of the church, you think it's okay. They go and they exorcise people with demons. Some of you don't believe it. Some do. That's a ritual. But you don't demonize that because you say it's getting rid of the demons. Something that's trying to get rid of demons, not always is it that they were demons itself out in the beginning, but it's why are they trying to get rid of the so-called demons? What are they trying to hide and not allow the said or so-called demons to speak their truth because you say they're one? That's the same as like people saying that kids about kids lying. Well, kids only lie because you taught them how to. See what I hey, 369. What Nikola Tesla would say about, right? Right down there. Inspired by the mechanical theories of Nikola Tesla. See, one side works with numbers and the other one sacred geometrical shapes. If you look around, okay, right now the numbers, a lot of times the numbers are off. And if anything is even off by a smidgen, one penny in a financial system, people say it doesn't feel rational. You think of every penny. Why do you think they will send you these, like even a 60-cent check? It costs more for the check than it did for the one that they wrote. Because they keep the books balanced. So if you get a 60-cent check, you don't cash it. You say they don't care because it's more money for them. But in the end, it screws with the books. Actually, frequency screws with the person's blood. It's why you're in school and you get headaches because you're white. Not only is it because of the light, but it's actually because of the sound that's traveling through them. Whether you hear it or not, your brain can hear it. Your body can feel it and hear it too. That's why you don't feel so well. You go into the hospital, same thing. It's the frequencies that everything is set at. And it's the noise, a lot of sound going on and what have you. That's what also autism comes from a lot of the time because it's like there's something in the body that is triggered to it being oversensory, like an oversensory. It's like when you have an electrical voltage and it's not firing properly. It's sparking. And as it sparks, it ignites different ones and it gives that awful vibration. You're in the right vibration, the body just feels like it's there. It just like your space. You're in space. It's like your whole energy moves outward. And that's why when you're in that state yourself, it's like if you're in that irritated state, irritation gravitates to you. If you're in that mellow calm state, then mellow calm gravitates to you. So it's the same as how you watch your programs. Because I know if you're in a house, like I have trouble going upstairs to my ex-husband's place because it's out of chaos. Because he's internally in chaos and external. Because what's internal becomes external, and it's hard to get that. Like ADHD people, they say they can't get the thought together. You can't get the thought together because you're in your headspace. You have to put the thought together in here. Because you're trying to put your mind on everything else other than the real problem. So that's why you don't see it in young children. Well, you see it, you see overactive kids, but you teach them, you put them in an ADHD state because they're being told they have to sit there, but they want to be somewhere else. So it's that part of putting them where their brain functions best. And they're very creative, they're very intelligent. They're just not given the understanding of what it is that's keeping you in that state of being. So, okay, so daily gratitude, right? 6 things you are grateful to have in your life that you are grateful to have in your life. I'm grateful to have my family, even though, things get rocky. I'm grateful for the air I breathe, for the food I have. I'm grateful for the people in my life who do cause me discomfort because they teach me and they help me to learn how to navigate. There are two more. I'm grateful for the land, the earth, the air, the water, but mostly because of the one thing that nothing sustains. And that's why we're shooting a lot of sun. The sun's part of it. People got offended because I didn't say that the humans were responsible. You're responsible for cultivating. You're responsible for, you destroyed the natural ecosystem and replaced it with chemicals. Visualizing your alignment. At each step on your journey, you can use all the tools of manifestation that you've learned about so far. Just because you visualize your success once doesn't mean you're finished. It's a continuous journey. These are, and I have 12 laws of the universe. And, I'll tell you right now, I probably violated every fucking one of them. Yeah, the shadow waits. Says shadow man, be unlocked. Strong men believe in pleasant effects for every action. And I never heard that until my son told me one time. And that was because his stepmother said to him about it. See, I give credit to people who are credit is due, but for some reason, those people just don't like me. But hey, oh well, still give you credit. You must take action to get results. Okay. Well, I did. I work it, I guess. The law of the divine oneness. That's the connection with spirit itself. You perceive like this. You say God as a spirit. Because spirit is the Holy Spirit. It's everything. God is, you perceive, some perceive God to be one being. Okay? It's one, it's like programming. Because it doesn't like its outcome with regards to when it doesn't like its outcome, it tries to bring it. Okay? That's why you get parts where you feel like time has changed or a Mandela effect or because in one year, like people were already saying about the Mandela effect with regards to Jiffy peanut butter or Jif. And Jiffy. Some it was Jiffy and some it was Jif. I remember it both. So that's when you start seeing it because it's two separate timelines, but you're living it simultaneously. So you're seeing from each other. Visually, you're getting glances because it was both Jif and Jif. The law of relativity, the law of potential transmutation, transmission, transmutation. I see what actual law of cause and effect, law of action, law of correspondence. See, it's like you feel like you're out of the matrix, but you're right. I go find out what's taking place in there within the different realms of reality. Right? Because that's what television is. It's different realms of reality. Okay, and sometimes it comes into your perceived reality. That's why, like, okay, if you have a set of keys and you set it somewhere, you know you set it there, but when you went back to get it, it wasn't there, and you found it somewhere else. It's because you've just experienced two different forms of your reality. On both, in one, you set it here. It's like when a doppelganger meets a doppelganger, they damn near shoot themselves. Che molto veramente vestito noi è stato conoscere per la let's go to, people say with the Annabelle doll, and then you say with the Jessica spirit. Did you figure it out yet? There's two sisters. That's what Jezebel and Annabelle were. They were, well, if they weren't sisters, they were first cousins and they looked identical to each other. The same as the two perceived males, the two males. Kita korita mo so Ja, så noi. Kela tyytty produkti. See, in the movie Back to the Future, didn't Doc say that, like, if you've seen your other counter, if you've seen yourself in different timeline or what have you, it could cause catastrophic. So, what exactly is the say about a big solar flare or whatever? Is that the part of coming back to self, making amends with shadow and light? And it's like if you watch the series Once Upon a Time, in the episode where, okay, the evil queen, which is when it's Regina, right? The love of her life, the heart of his life. Now, Regina used a potion to separate from herself, to get rid of the evil side. Okay, it's much like if you have an exorcism, it removes that part of you. Those parts of like just different forms, but it's like she used a potion and it separated from her. Okay, but what she came to realize, because in an episode of Be Queen Regina, she had said by looking in the mirror that she hated herself. And I've gone through that. So when she separated, she didn't want any part of the darkness. So what ended up happening is she found out that, she actually loved herself. So part of that love she had, she gave to that other half of herself and took half of the darkness. So it was that shared part, knowing that, no matter what version of yourself you are, you're still not responsible. You're still responsible. Because whether you are in a different form of a spirit that you perceive, or in a spirit of you as you perceive, words that we say, actions we take, or lack thereof. And I know it's like, all she ever does is scold and tell us how to behave. No, I'm not telling anybody how to behave. I'm just saying, sit with yourself and, have a look at your own life. Not to feel sorry about it, but to see the trials, tribulations you've gone through, what you've overcome, what you are avoiding overcoming because you're still angry about it. That's when it comes to that part where you say, like, do we even know what we're angry about anymore? Or are we just two different versions of stories of the past? It's like looking at your news and it's like people say we're all a bunch of actors. Well, you're casting. So if you're casting, these people got to take on the role of the person that they're said to be playing. Is it possible that there's some what you perceive witchcraft in that? Is it possible that people say is it possible that the fakeness is showing you that they're using a green screen, but they're actually doing something? See, you say about AI, so that you don't know if you're watching something real or fake. So, something that could be real, but they're telling you it's a TV program you're watching, but it's really happening. Would you understand that? This is hypothetical, or, I'm just asking. It's like, where do you think the mind comes from? just ask, don't you experience everything that happens on earth? You experience it God. They tell you to be grounded, but the reason why I'm taking it is because the head is the connection. Because it's the brain. It's all the, you call them roots. So what's all in here? It's roots. You look at the human brain and it looks like a fucking ant's nest. Just the way his clothes moves. There's some really fucking weird music because talking about killer clowns, like seriously, worse than malfunction. Not being rude. So it's people sending music. It's like I know it's different versions of spirits sending different music through. Esse daqui tomou que é russo. See? It's like saying to burn the witch. Here. Oh, I'll even supply the lighter and you can pick which one you want. And I have the cross. Oh, it can be either in the tree or, right over here on the cross that was on my mother's list. When I talk, people get irritated with me. Like, you have to ask yourself, maybe you should ask yourself why I'm speaking in different languages because you don't understand. Why does it irritate you? It makes me not. So, yeah, you're still going to demonize witchcraft. Fucking good about anything. You just go by what, like, some people experience it. So, instead of demonizing it, I don't understand it because obviously you're experiencing it. You're actually part of it. What part of it? It's snowing. It's nice to just like sit here. Oh no, just look. I like the snow. I don't like the cold, and I don't want plastic snow either Because people are saying about the snow. It's like, say, what? Yeah, maybe I should go get a ball of snow and use the lighter and see if it actually burns. Well, I don't know if I have to burn it, but it is pretty wet. See? Okay. Ready? People say snow don't burn. Well, it should melt, right? There's no water dripping. Because water was dripping. That's upside down, and there's no water dripping. But my fingers are not. No, it's not. It was just when I picked it up. My fingers barely wet. That's like a friggin', it feels like a sponge. Look. I don't know if that's contained or if it's like, it's melting in my hand. Well, everyone's seen that there was water in that, but to the flame, it wasn't melting. It was heat. What is there? Is this all the plastic that's in the oceans? Oh, goddamn! Oh! Weather manipulation, weather modification act. I like this one. Pobrecito, uma careta aí. Se tu deixa muito polícia. I like it. No, it's people are saying, well, that's deceiving God. No, it's not deceiving God. It's telling the Father, fucking lighten up a little. Que no estoy peleando. It's like I'm a preacher's daughter. Que patriquíssimo, é? What's that? I heard, is your father really a preacher? I don't know. Maybe he could be a fucking secret one. It's like that's it's like that series. My two dads, but are they father and son? Yes, and the Musha can see it. This is the spirit's spirit, and those spirits know exactly. One's a druid, I believe, and the other one he's just fucking. I won't say fucking warlock. He's a warlock. Secret in the book. Yeah. A little crystal book. I have the book about spirits. I don't read it. I just speak with all versions of them because they all have a version of their story. And it's like when you're a medium, you're there to help them. You're a mediator. You mediate the spirits. So you're going to get both sides of it. And, you're going to look like a fucking raging lunatic while doing it too. And people will think you're a little nuts and crazy. But hey, the thing is, once you understand what the fuck doesn't matter what people think. I know sometimes I still get that part where, it's like I feel nervous, the spirit will push me to do it because that's the part of, you know, this is the authenticity. It's being who you are. And the more when I try to hold back, it's just, it's uncomfortable because I feel like I'm suppressing myself. Once you get over that, like, really raw anger shit, get it all out with, like, with what you need to get out. Sometimes it's going to hurt people's feelings. But if they actually understand the message, then it shouldn't hurt their feelings. It should help them to heal the problem. That's why it irritates me. Christ. For somebody to assume that people can't handle it, it's not that people can't handle it. It's that you've hated it for so long that you can't handle it because it was in your shadows. The spirit just you put them in your world and then somebody who does great and somebody who does great for not just certain things and say, oh, well, you can't make law. Well, you actually can if you actually listen to the people and the people listen to each other and realize that you're fighting because you want the same thing and you're learning it differently. And that's what it is. You don't explain, you just with immigrants, you just want to go. You're illegal. Well, you can tell how much more people can get there, right? Seriously. Sometimes common sense is too hard to follow. Now, it's like we've gone back to immigration and stuff. Exactly what it feels like. You read about it, I don't like plastic. That looks pretty. I guess that's what we put in. Cats are actually like animals are stopping at the side of the road. And it's just separating them. So, okay. He has a mat, and instead of one, separated. He likes this more than he does. Well, he likes getting brushed, but he gets overstimulated. Well, you said that again. Maybe he's right. Maybe I do talk too much. But I think it was because I was doing his hair. But he is. Yeah, I know he's a warlock in disguise. Just feels like it. So it's like it's almost like you should have posted put a second version like that because I can feel when it's different versions because some days and then other days it's just like he's really like fluffy and soft. So if people don't know, like realize that I know what's going on in my environment the biggest majority of the time. And right now, an energy or just stuff behind me. So it's like, right now I'm sitting in my spirit. I said, I seen the Northern Lights. Well, I don't know. That was my dream, but it was a vision. It was like I was somewhere and I was not having my bloody screen on and I looked up and it was the Northern Lights. And Santa Claus was going through. But he wasn't on your regular, like what you'd see reindeer sleigh. He was on the machines. And I seen one, it was like a freaking cartoon. Like it was really weird. It was like Santa was just zooming through everything. And what this was back a while ago, even before the movie Redwood come out, the Christmas movie Redwood before it come out. I had that dream. It was like I was looking, it was like I was in a cartoon world. It was just like holy shit. So do I believe in Santa Claus? I know Santa Claus exists. Good meditative song. Meditative. Feeling the energy of the just doing this with your body, you actually feel good. And I know people say, well, I got to plant consciously. But you start moving itself, move vibration. I like this. Sinto doer, Chico, morre, né? Isso é. What are you? It's like, get up in your hands. Oh, wow. I got out winners and no sale. I'm talking about my sweater. Let me ask where I got my warm. I like it. Sikia to daje lutuji. Yeah, this snow. That was just weird. Well, I like this music. I really do. I was like even like Celtic music stuff like that because the feet are constantly going. It's like yeah, I can already feel like I my feet want to move to it. It's like e se tutto questo non fosse tutto erda, io the soft whistle around until they start whistling. It's like I'm a Morsito, 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 morsito. Like, wow. No, yeah, Love begins. How does that relate? I'm trying to figure out how to split because I have love begins, movement, choices, decisions, and choose wisely. As I know right now, Spirit is trying to teach me something. Because it's like the message, you have a message and you have a message. Okay. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Let's talk about love. So, father, you know, authority. Okay? See, like I said, father is do as I say, not as I do. This one says, well, authority. Authority, the government, who runs the government, the father. Card represents masculine qualities of leadership, logic, strength, wisdom, and power. Okay, now they're trying to strong. Okay,
There's no logic, and the strength. Well, that's the bully tactic, and the wisdom. I'm yet to hear some of the wisdom. I know some of it comes out of my mouth, but when it comes to women, it just still ain't got it yet. Encourages you to develop and unite the qualities and tap into the masculine aspects of yourself. Well, the system you live under right now, is that what it's doing? Because right now it sounds like it's the opposite of that. So, okay, so to tap into the masculine, then you have to be able to tap into the feminine too, which will bring you a spiritual union. Because everything is functioning in harmony. Problem solving skills. Yeah, I do more so. Yeah. Okay. This is what a masculine like. Okay, because there's going to be some that gets insulted by this. Okay. I've seen many men that are not real good at problem solving, right? Because when you're looking for something, you don't problem solve. You go run to somebody else and get frustrated with them because you put something somewhere that you didn't know where, and now you can't find it. So you don't take that moment. You get angry before you sit even a moment of a second because you can't find it. That comes with ADHD, but that's because you're so disorganized in here that you keep everything disorganized out there because you just drop it where you see. I'm on spirituality, and I don't. It feels like people don't understand what is unfolding. Are you sure it's a father and a son? Do you ever think maybe it was a daughter and a father? You find this your construct, and along the way you make wise choices. So love begins and love is born. But hope is already here. And whether you accept hope or not, it's your hope. And I know. See, we all have two hands. Okay? We need us here. And the name we are. Look up the story of like birds who have doors like this. Okay? What's at the bottom of Pandora's box? Hope. What is Pandora's box built up of? Lies. And this truth is at the bottom. God help me. Reconheceu. You know, I was watching the thing and she asked me if Donald Trump was a clone. It was always the real Donald Trump. She was 2000. And said it was. They're different types of clones. It's a lot. There's different types of clones. It's really surreal. What what time reality is he in? It's like I swear I live with the sun. But he says he's my ex-husband says he doesn't like him. You know, Donald Trump is always on typing. They have it down. But you know, when I was like this, it's like it kind of pushes. When I was like this, it was open. And when I was like this, it was like, it was one. It's like connected. And it debe ser I keep being brought back to that I planted back in 2020 when I first started what you would prefer to be witchcraft because I knew it and seen it. And I met my spirit in the shadow. And I'm still como para no, you know, this may not make sense to us. But if you actually take the time to look at both sides, you find out that they're using the same stuff. They're just taught differently. It's not good. You call it gatekeeping. Do you know what the word gatekeeping means? Gatekeeping to the truth that you are the divine. And you can laugh all you want. It's the connection, the bliss of life. See, maybe the mother and father started working together to tell, tell the world as a whole, as the children, to smarten up. But there had to be a child in the womb until then to smarten. So yes, I do say that the father needs to live, and this is spirit to spirit. Like, you know. So with that being said, I'm sending all much love, light, and blessings, most importantly, very good health to everyone. Most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self, be true and kind to yourself, be true and kind to others. You know that you're not partial. You're competent. You don't have to believe what I say about this stuff, but why not look into it? Or not? What are you afraid of? I feel a little better. It's shitty. The demons always does. Shadows, troubles, your fears. That's what but it's not scary. But it's worth it. You just reach out to the right people. Send your